No one in your classes today.
Sorry?
No one in your classes today.
Who was that small blur over there? No. I can't change, you know.
Did you get contacts and stuff today?
What was that other blur?
Did you get contacts?
No, I didn't. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, a little bit to get through today. Obviously, I'm just turning the lights off. So, let's check what we've got here. Excellent. Alright, so everyone needs to listen to me for a little bit. And I'll let you in on what, actually no, I should use my glasses because I can't even read the board. I'll let you in on what we're doing. So, alright, so obviously today is your first milestone. Okay, your first milestone for your project. So I'll come around a little bit later. Don't worry about this right now. I'll come around a little bit later. But what we're going to do is a lesson. Okay, that's what we do. Now, I just sent you a link, obviously, that has. Oh, let's look at photos blocked. That has a link to what we're doing today. So I'm sure you're getting used to this system now where I've got everything online because it just makes it a bit easier. We actually have a nice day today, so I might let some of you leave to do this one. So what I'll do is I'll explain the topic, I'll explain what we're doing, and then I will hopefully let you disperse. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I'll let you disperse for today. No one else would. Alright, let's go back. I'm the only one that's legally allowed to pinch and punch the child. Wait. I'm the only one that's other way. Anyway, alright. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to be working on today. Okay? So, again, I'm just giving you another one of those kind of intros to another part of Japan. So, we talked about, what did we talk about last little online lesson?
We did the source tasks.
Okay, and we did note taking, okay, which we're going to follow on next week. Alright, so what we're doing today is we're going to have a look at feudalism. Now, this is a word that you know, okay? Why do we know this word? Because we're awesome.
Because we did medieval.
We did medieval Europe. Okay, so Japan had a similar system. Okay, so we know that feudalism is essentially, it's a system, okay? And Japan had one as well. Okay, theirs was very similar in structure, alright? So what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at this, and I'm going to get you to do something. Hopefully you've done this before in other classes, but nothing surprises me anymore, so we'll find out you may never have done it. It's interesting. So, do you have a question?
Since it was so similar, and they didn't know about Europe hardly at all. So is that just a coincidence, or did they actually get
No. It's got nothing to do. It's basically it's like a level of government. Poor, not so poor, more powerful, top guy. I mean, that's not really unique, is it? That's everywhere. Japan did it. Europe did it. You know, we kind of do it now. It's just kind of how humans are. We're not. We need to be ruled. As people, we kind of do. Could you imagine, it would be awesome, but could you imagine, a world where we didn't, again, I've talked about this before, but technically, there are more of you here than me, so you could just get up and go, well, we'll just beat the crap out of them and leave. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, essentially, right now. There's nothing. I mean, I could probably take on maybe 4 or 5 of you, I reckon, by the time we get to 10 or 11, piling in, I probably couldn't do it. But there's nothing really, well, there's not. Wow, Fred looks like he's...
Yeah, don't
I'm just going to... Alright, I'm going to talk over here. From now. So, there's nothing really stopping you from doing that. Okay? Well, there's nothing...
What would you do if we just got up and what could you actually do?
Yeah, what could you do if we...
Nothing. I could do nothing. I could do nothing.
You could do behaviour notes.
Well, yeah, I can give behaviour notes, but...
And then
and what's that going to do? So there's nothing, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. There's nothing stopping me, per se, from me leaving this. I'm technically paid to be here. I've got responsibility. I can leave. There's nothing stopping me from being here, other than I'm just a really nice guy. I want to make sure you guys are smart and stuff. But that's kind of how the world works. You know, we've got police there, and we've got judges, and we've got, bless you, we've got jails, and we've got all these systems in place to kind of stop you from doing that. But yeah, there's really nothing there. Okay, so we kind of work as people, you know, we're all generally nice people, and we all want to get along, okay? But, yeah, we do need people to rule us. You know, as crazy as that sounds, we need someone to say, you know, you need to get up. Come on, like that's what your parents for. They're there to say, hey, get up, have your breakfast, do your homework, go to school, come home, do your chores, do your jobs, get paid. You know, we kind of need people. We need people to do that. Like Clay needs me to take away his iPad because I need him to focus on this. He needs that. Okay, it's good for him. He needs it. All right, and that's what we've got. So, a little bit of a segue, but basically, yes, people need to be ruled. We need people to tell us what to do.
Do you rule us?
No, not really. Or I don't. I don't think teachers should rule kids. I'm here to guide you, hopefully. Because I'm a little bit older than you. Technically, I probably know a little bit more because I've been alive longer. So, you know, that's really the only thing separating us. But, yeah, you need people to guide you, you need people to rule. And that's kind of how the system works as well. All right? Europe needed their feudal system that they had in place to kind of survive. Okay, we talked about Europe, medieval Europe being it was pretty gruesome. You know, people were dying, you didn't live very long, you had the diseases, so you kind of needed to have someone in charge. Okay, and that's what happened in Japan too. They needed a system to keep people in place. Everyone had their place. If we didn't have our place in the world, right now anyway, we would have chaos. We really would. I don't think human beings have kind of evolved enough that we can just live in peace with each other. We can't. Okay, we really can't. It's crazy. Sometimes, if we go another segue, sometimes, you know, when I used to take Winston out, I'd go out to the park or whatever, and I'd let Winston run off, and he would go, they would talk to other dogs, hey, how you doing, Snippy? Like, I'm doing good, you know. They would chat, they would talk, and off they would go. You know, you go into the city, and you see people walk past each other, no one says, oh, everyone's doing this, you know, humans we're just like that, okay? But anyway, so no, it's not that they learned it from anyone, it's just that people as a whole, we need people to rule us. So, that was a long segue. Let's go back. So what we're doing is, so medieval Japan and medieval Europe, so we've looked at medieval Europe already, okay? They had very similar feudal systems. So what I've got here is each had a religious figurehead. You know, we had, what did Europe have? Oh, the church, we'll say the church, yeah. So they had the Pope, we had a religious figurehead, so he was kind of the god guy in charge. Okay, we had a warrior class, which is our knights. Alright, we had a servant class.
Sort of.
Barons kind of go in there as well. And then we had our peasants, like our peasants were at the very, very bottom. We had that, okay? So, what you're going to be doing in today's lesson is you're comparing these two. You're going to be comparing Japan's, because they're both similar, but they are different as well. Personally, I think Japan's was the better of the two. You'll see it's kind of it's a lot more free, and people were allowed to kind of be themselves, and it was a lot more cultural as well, okay? Again, this could come down to the fact that Japan was cultural. Yes, that's why I'm bringing it back. Hey, oh, look what I'm doing, making links. Yes, so this was one of your weekly research questions, similar to what I did last time, because I wanted to get the ball rolling. I'm a forward thinker, what can I say? So, yeah, you're going to be comparing these two, but no, sorry, so Japan itself was an island, okay, remember it was kind of cut off from the rest of the world. England, Europe, they were so close to each other, they had a lot of influences, they had a lot of people wanting to invade them every 5 seconds, okay, Japan being relatively safe, kind of by itself, maybe they could develop a system different because of that. So, let's have a look. So they were very, very similar. So what you're going to be doing today is you're going to be doing a bit of research. Again, we've done this a little bit of this last term, so you should be able to smash this. And you're going to display your findings about the comparison of these two visibly. All right, you're going to show me visibly how you're going to compare this. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a Venn diagram. Now, please tell me you've done this before.
No.
Kind of. What's a Venn diagram? All right, here we go. So, what is a Venn diagram? A Venn diagram is a set diagram. It is a diagram that shows all the possible logical relations between a finite collection of sets, blah, 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 blah. What is it? That makes no sense. Here's a picture. That's what it is. Okay? Are you watching? It might be too loud. Okay. That's what it is. Okay? Essentially, you have two circles. You can have three, you can have four, you can use one. Okay? If you're comparing two things like we are, we have two circles. So we've got different, same. Alright? So we have one thing over here, we have one thing over here, and in the middle we have something that is the same between these two things. So for an example, I've got whales and fish. Okay? They're obviously different.
No.
One's big, one's small. I don't know. So I've got here, whales have hair, okay, they have a live birth,
They have eyebrows.
and they breathe air. Okay? That's what whales have that fish don't have. Okay? Fish lay eggs, they have scales, and they breathe water. Okay? So there are two things there. Fish and whales, and that's what fish have, that's what whales have, that they don't share. They're different. Okay? And in the middle, you can see the two circles overlap, and so that's what they have in common. Okay? Not the same, in terms of it's exactly the same, alright? But mostly it's in common, they're very similar. So what I've got here is, they both live in water, they both have fins, obviously they have different fins, but they both have fins, okay, so that's similar, and they can both swim. Pretty simple. Okay, that's a Venn diagram, it's as simple as that. It's a visual way of showing. I mean, you could do this exact same thing with a couple of tables, you know, same, different. But this is just a nice, quick visual way. I can look at a Venn diagram and I can go, oh, cool, that's unique to fish, that's unique to whales, that's the same, straight away. Okay, so that's a Venn diagram. So if we just go back a little bit, this is what you're going to be comparing. All right, so I've got the lists here. So medieval Europe, you know these guys. All right, I'm using probably slightly different words though. I'm changing our wording a little bit from last time. So we've got the Pope, which is the church. Okay, we've got the monarchy, being the king. Okay, yeah. So I just said the king because that's how we looked at it last time. So the king. We've got nobles, which are barons, for what we looked at last time. We then have our knights, and then we then have our peasants. We know these guys. We know what they do. We know where their structure was. We know how they were treated. We did this last time. So Japan. Now, again, I'm going to go into more detail into feudalism a little bit later. This is just kind of your, like I did last time, your little baby steps into feudalism. All right. So Japan, a little bit different. We'll start at the bottom. We had our peasants. Hey, same word. That's easy. We then had samurai. Okay. We then had word of the day, Ashley. We're getting there. We then had a shogun, and we then had our emperor at the top. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to start, guys, you're going to start at the bottom with your peasants, for instance, and you're going to create a Venn diagram. Peasants from Japan on the left. Peasants of Japan on the right. Okay. Here's what's different for Japan. Freddie. Here's what's different from Japan. Here's what's different for Europe. Here's what's the same. Okay. So you're going to do that with your peasants, your samurai, and your knights. Your what are they actually? And your nobles or your barons. Your shogun and the king. Okay. And finally the emperor and the pope. Ashley. Oh! That's only 3 times in a year, that's alright. That's what you're going to be doing. Okay? So, here's an example. You've obviously seen the example there. Here's the example I made. Now, I did this in Keynote, and that's how I would suggest you guys do it. If you've got another way, that's fine. Here's my example in Keynote. Here's the Keynote file. You can download that, hopefully. It's blocked. I'll give you bypass. Actually, I'll just email it to you. I'll email it to you. It'll be easier. So I've actually made a Keynote for you. I'm guessing you all haven't updated to iOS 7 yet, so I'll send you the older one. And here's my example. Got it? We're right? We're awake? Excellent. Here's my example here. So I've got samurai versus knights. Alright, so here is what the samurai have, which is unique to samurai. Okay? The first one's an easy one, hopefully. They lived in Japan. That's a little bit different from our knights who lived in Europe. Easy. You can clearly see, well, that's a bit different. That's awesome. Okay? Then we've got, with our samurai, they were willing to commit suicide if they were dishonored, which is called... No, it's not called that.
Oh no, that's a really weird one.
Lucky's got it. Thank you. Alright, now knights, I don't remember reading anywhere that knights would do that, did you? The knights have gone, oh crap, I lost. I'll just stab myself to the sword. They didn't do that. Alright? Jess? They didn't do that. So that's clearly quite unique to Japanese samurai.
That's actually like very...
Alright, they used leather plates for armor. When you research this, you'll see that the samurai, they didn't cover themselves in this huge iron armor. Okay? They used leather plates for reasons... Why
it's lighter.
It's lighter. They use their own horseback. Exactly. Okay. They were a different kind of warrior. They were a better warrior. So they used leather, whereas knights, as you know, used really heavy armor. So let me finish, Aaron. So that is different. Okay? That's unique to a knight. That's unique to a samurai. Alright, the samurai used bows and arrows. Okay? That's what they used. That was their tool of the trade, a bow and arrow. Alright? Whereas our knights, they use bow and arrows, but they use crossbows.
What about ninjas?
Okay? Can I continue, Clay, please? They use crossbows. So that's different. They use slightly different weapons. Alright? We know about this one. They followed the chivalry, that code of chivalry. Alright? That's what the knights followed. Alright? And the samurais followed this Bushido code. Okay? They followed different codes. Okay? So that is different. So we can see, alright, very different, very different. But where these two guys shared similar things. They were warriors, obviously. Samurai and knights were warriors. They weren't kings, they weren't peasants, they were the warriors. Alright, they were the guys that fought the battle. Like, I could almost put another circle up here, alright, and have the army, you know, or have soldiers that we have now. And I'm sure you'll find we'll get this kind of thing going on as well. Okay? So they were warriors, they used swords, okay? Both of these guys used swords. Difference, there is a small difference though. Samurai generally would use 2 swords, whereas knights would use 1. The swords were also different as well, but I'm just saying, in general, they use swords. So mine is a simple version. You can go a lot more detail than I've got there. Okay? They both rode horses. The knights rode horses, samurai rode horses. Samurai rode horses really, really well. Okay? And when we research samurai a little bit later, you'll see that. And again, it goes back to why they had leather armor, and why they used a bow and arrow. These guys could ride a horse, sling to the side, shoot a bow and arrow, and then sling back up on top of the horse again. They were crazy good at this stuff, like the Mongols were as well. Alright, they were super strong. They were trained to use horses from like day one. Okay? They could jump on a horse while it was running, shoot some arrows, get off, go back on again. They were crazy good at it. They both got paid in land. Okay, this is similar, we obviously know this. So the knights, we know their payment was they were given land by the barons. Same with the samurai. Their payment was land as well. Okay, so we've got a similarity there. And my final similarity I've used is they both followed codes on how to behave. Okay, to be a knight, to be a samurai, you had to follow these certain codes. Alright? And that's your Venn diagram. Pretty easy, yeah? So this is what you're going to do today, Bo. You are going to look at, if we go back up here, look at these guys. So peasants and peasants. I've done samurai and knights, but I want you to do your own version because, again, you'll find other things when you research it. What did they actually?
Timer.
And the barons, monarchy and the shogun, and emperor and the pope. Okay? So I should be seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in Keynote, 5 slides, essentially, that look like that. So I will email you this right now, my Keynote template. So all you need to do is essentially open them up. You have big knife, big knife. All you need to do is open my Keynote up, and there's your template done. I've done it for you. I've done the structure. I've done everything. Such a nice guy. And I want you to fill that out. Okay, so you're going to have to use your own research here. You're going to have to research the knight. Hopefully you already kind of know the medieval Europe stuff. You know that. Okay? So really, you're going to be researching this. Now, the reason why I've done this little task now, before I go into it more in depth, is because technically, probably, who knows, you might not know anything about these guys just yet. So this is my baby step. Alright, you're going to do a little bit of research to do these Venn diagrams, and you're going to actually give yourself some background. So when we talk about next week, we talk about the samurai, we talk about the shogun, we talk about the emperor, you're going to be like, yeah, I can do that. I I know what he's about. And that's it. That's all we're doing today. Alright, before I let you go, I will show you this as well. I've put together, really quickly, you guys have a month left of school. When you come back next week, you've got a month left. That's it. Alright? You're out of middle school, you're over to the year 9, slightly smelly area.
Slightly.
Slightly. It's strange up there. You'll get used to it. You'll get guilt. So, you've got a month left when you come back next week. And that's it. Alright? So what I've done here is, obviously for all my classes, but I've broken down kind of what you're looking at in history, basically. You've got your milestone today, obviously. You've got your milestone next week. Alright? Ignore my notes here on what we're doing. I'm just kind of, these are really rough. Then you've got a milestone on the 15th. So your milestone today, next week, week after. And then the following week is your project. Okay, so your project is due on the 22nd. And what I'm going to do on that day as well is you're all going to be filming your projects. You're going to be filming like a 2-minute video where you talk about your project, you talk about how it went, and you talk about your artwork. You're going to be filming that yourselves, okay? And that's going to go off to Unley in South Australia, to a student over there, and they're going to watch it and give you feedback. Okay, so that's going to be part of what we're doing on the 22nd. That's why it's super important, I mean, other than the fact that it's the due date, that you have it ready on the 22nd. Joe?
How are we supposed to send it?
I'll be organising everything. So that's the 22nd. Alright, then you have, if we jump across to December, all you have in December is like 8 or 9 days. That's why I'm saying you've got a month. Let's rule December out. December 9 is obviously important because that's my birthday, so...
There's a month after mine.
Sorry?
Oh my god.
Wow, so close.
I'm not going to be here.
Whoa!
I'm
That's a big comparison.
Can we have a party?
So, December 9 is my birthday, so clearly there'll be something special in store that you already have planned for me. I don't want to say it.
Clearly we have to have a party.
And what are you going to be? So, guys, your exam. This is the only thing that's probably important to you other than December 9. Is the 3rd is your exam. Yeah. The 3rd of December is your exam. I believe it's session 3.
We're going to be doing these exams, and we're going to probably be doing nothing afterwards.
No. December 9, we're not doing nothing. You guys have got a party plan. I don't want to know about it. Don't go surprise. Sorry?
Pretty sure they planned stuff for the last few days of school first.
I will write that off. It's December 9.
Yeah.
I believe it should be a national holiday.
Sorry?
I don't know. We'll find out. I believe it's called Step Up to my birthday week. Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, we've got on the 3rd is your exam, okay? It's your history exam. It's going to cover what you've done this semester. So essentially, the geography stuff's not going to be in there. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so it's going to cover, I'll send you this, by the way, I'll send you this timetable so you don't have to write it down. It's going to cover what we've done this semester, so basically medieval Europe and medieval Japan, or what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks. The Japan stuff will be easy because we're going to be doing it right now. It'll be fresh in your minds. And like I did last time, the week before this, I will be doing stuff on the blog, and that's how I'll be revising it. If you smash the last exam, I have no doubt that you'll smash this exam as well. So that's irrelevant. And then finally, your reports are the 7th, on the 11th, which is basically the second last day of school. It'll be longer. So the second last day of school is when your reports are finalised. So what I'm saying here is I have until, that's my deadline to write your report. So I'm going to leave that. I'm not writing your reports until the very, very end. Because that way, we have a lot of time to get stuff done. And it's more fun for me that way to say, well, I'm writing your reports. So, that's it. That's kind of your lives. 1 month left of school. Then you're not middle schoolers anymore, man. You're senior school.
With armpit hair.
Bait.
I
don't really want to know about that, but that's cool. I'm glad that you've got that. Alright, so that's today's lesson. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come around individually, have a look at your milestone 1s, make sure you're on the right track, offer you my worldly, manly advice on moving forward. If you have any problems, that's when we talk about it. That's it. So what I would like completed today
Venn diagram.
is these Venn diagrams. So essentially you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Venn diagrams. And you understand what to do? Yeah. Cool.
Now,
Let's get rolling.